Good afternoon. Another April 25th is with us, and we move further away from the time that we signify on this day. April 25th, Anzac Day, is a very important day to so many people watching our show. I guess there are still some in Australia who don't understand the relevance of what this day is all about. For those people, frankly, I feel sorry. They may believe that Anzac Day glorifies war. It's completely untrue. Anzac Day is a day when we honour and we thank those people who gave their lives, gave their time, gave all they had to offer so that we could enjoy in Australia all the good things that abound in 1989. So today on our show, we thank them, and more importantly, we salute them. We have an original and very rare letter which was written in Gallipoli in 1915. It was written by an unknown soldier who worked as a dispatch messenger and therefore was able to write about the war and bypass the military censors. The soldier wrote this to his sister, and for reasons of time today it's been edited. I won't read from the original because this is very precious and its sentimental value is priceless. So I'll take my copy and my glasses. An original letter from an unknown soldier who worked as a dispatcher. It's dated Gallipoli, Turkey, May 1st, 1915. Dear Claire, well, I expect you know that we've made a start at fighting at last. And hell's blazes, it was a landing I never want to see again. When we got here, the warships were bombarding the shore fort, something terrible. It almost deafened us for a time. The shore batteries then started firing on our transport, and two big shells came stretching over us, but fell in the water about 30 yards from us. We took the ship's boat and got towed ashore. Then the murder started. The first boat got upset and only 5 reached land. The rest were drowned. Their packs kept them underwater. And just after that, a boatload got wiped out, all but one man. A shell burst in the middle of the boat. But once our fellows got on land, off came their packs, and they went mad and charged the hills with bayonets. My mate, Piggy, had a very narrow escape as his rifle was shattered by a piece of shrapnel, but he never got a scratch. Our best sergeant got a bullet in the groin, and he was in terrible agony. The first poor fellow I saw dead was a young mate, Trumpeter Johnson, and he was hacked to pieces. We've had only one decent sleep of 5 hours since we've been ashore. The work is night and day. One chap was carrying food to us at 1:30 yesterday morning, and he got 3 bullets in him. Since I've been here, I have the feeling that I've seen you all for the last time. And I'm not one to squeal, nor am I afraid to go anywhere I'm sent. But the hills and villages are alive with snipers. Their artillery are rotten shots. It was funny, last Tuesday there were 3 big Krupp guns firing at us from behind, in a hill somewhere, doing a lot of harm. Anyway, Queen Lizzie sighted them and she fired 1 shot from her 15-pound gun and blew it to blazes. They're very cunning and they'll take some driving from the hills. But after we get them moving, we'll never stop until we get to Constantinople. Well, Claire, give my love to all, and I hope you're all well. Let no more of your brothers come here. It's simply murder. Your loving brother, Aubrey.
We were summoned from the hillside. We were called in from the glen, and the country far stirring call for men. Let no tears add to your hardship as the soldiers pass along. And although your heart is breaking, make it sing this cheery song. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lands are far away, we dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark cloud shining. Turn the dark clouds inside out till the boys come
Back of your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While there's a loose and broken light, your bag. Smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use in worrying? It never was worthwhile. So, pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile,
John Finlayson, John Higginson, Donald Cant, the Alana Clark Dancers. Back with more after this break. Welcome back. In presenting the memories and the music of the war years, of course, we're talking about World War I, World War II, and we don't forget, naturally, Korea and Vietnam. My first guest today is an author who's had a love affair with Australian history and its characters right throughout these eras, for as long as he can remember. His latest book is called Somewhere in France. It's the story of a man called Rod Whitelaw, who enlisted in the AIF in 1915, firmly believing that he'd be home for Christmas. Please welcome Alan Nixon. Welcome, Alan. Who was Roy Whitelaw?
Roy Whitelaw was a typical Australian soldier. He went off to war, as you say, believing he'd be home by Christmas. I originally set out to write a book about my grandfather and came across the collection of Roy Whitelaw, and I realised I'd found the story of a typical Australian soldier, and so that's what I set out to do, was to tell his story, but I believe also telling the story of ordinary Australians.
It's very easy, Alan, for someone like myself to eulogise about what they did during the wars, particularly the First World War, which was the first major one we suffered in this country. It's very easy for me to espouse the virtues of what those blokes did, and the women. But what was it really like for them in those years, the First World War, particularly in the trenches of France?
I think as a historian as such, I spent a lot of time going through old records, letters, diaries, etc. Horrific is the only way I can describe it. You imagine your clothes, your body covered in lice, you're in snow, in trenches filled with mud, up above your knees in mud. Come the end of the day, you would sleep wherever you could, and all around you, your mates were dying, and people that you'd known for many years were simply being blown away. And I think that's the horror of war. That's the thing that we must thank these people for. They fought believing what they were doing for Australia. If you were to ask someone to do that today, it would be a horrific thing to go through what those men went through, and this is my personal tribute to all of them.
Let me ask you, this is a question almost on behalf of my late father, who died as the result of war injuries, and he was in both the First World War and the Second World War. What were the British officers like to our blokes in the First World War?
once again, horrific, I'd have to say. I don't have much thought for the British. I think when you look at the way Australians were treated, we lost 60,000 men in war, more than any other country who sent men to war. The ordinary British soldier got on very well with the Australians. It was the officers that Australians really detested, because they were always put into the front line of fighting. At one stage, Australians held over 30% of the entire British line. But we really suffered, and they were treated with... we were the mere colonials and there to do what we were told.
I'm very pleased, though, that you made the distinction between the officers and the ordinary bloke in the British forces, because the Tommies and the Aussies got along pretty well, didn't they?
Yes, very much so, as they did with the Americans and the Canadians and the New Zealanders. But the officers will be remembered for many generations as being pretty bad, particularly to Australians.
Alan, as a devil's advocate, somewhere in France, how is that relative to today's society?
Well, I think it's very relative. I spent a lot of time going through schools throughout New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, talking to young children who simply don't understand what these men and women went through. And so today, in our society, we are a great debt to these people. And one day in the year we stop to remember them, but I believe that we should remember them right throughout, all days throughout the year, because, I'm a grandson of two men who went to World War I. I'm a son of a man who, my father went to World War II. Without that dedication that they went through, perhaps we wouldn't be sitting here now.
True. Alan, thank you very much indeed, and good luck with Somewhere in France.
Thanks very much.
Alan Nixon. On the special Anzac Day edition of the Bert Newton Show, it's nice to welcome back a friend with whom I worked in television for many, many years, in another place, as they say in politics, on the Nine Network, Johnny Ladd, who indeed is a Britisher by birth, but now we claim him as an Aussie because he's been here long enough to be one of us. And he revives some lovely memories for many people watching today of a man who served in more than one war. With his famous Chelsea pensioner, please welcome Mr. Johnny Ladd.
George, where are you? How many have you seen George? He's an old Chelsea pensioner like myself. He's 87 and he's just got engaged to a young woman of 23. Oh, I warned him. I said, George, don't marry her. It could prove fatal. He said, oh, well, if she dies, she dies. I don't know. You know, we volunteered together for the Great War. Well, I did. George, he volunteered for a women's regiment. But they rumbled him at the medical. They got his coat buttoned the wrong way. And one night when we were on guard duty, we caught two young nurses trying to creep into camp at 4 o'clock in the morning. I said to one, I said, "Oh, who goes there? Don't you know you're out after hours?" They said, "Oh, thank God, we thought you were out after hours." Dear, oh dear, oh dear. And then Armistice Day, I'll never forget that. Armistice Day outside a pub called the Inside Inn. And during Armistice they got swings outside the Inside Inn, roundabouts outside the Inside Inn. George was outside the Inside Inn, having one or two in his inside outside the Inside Inn. Well, then he went inside the Inside Inn. He had a lot more in his inside the Inside Inn. He comes outside the Inside Inn. He went onto the swings and the roundabouts outside the Inside Inn. And the last time I saw him there, he was outside, heaving up his inside up against the outside of the Inside Inn. Oh, very old guy. And the barmaid, you know, she wouldn't serve him. She said, "George, I'm not giving you any more to drink. You're drunk. You're blind." He said, "Blind?" He said, "I'll show you how blind I am." He said, "You see that pussycat coming in through the door? Well, it's only got one eye." And the barmaid said, "George, that pussycat's going out." But he married her, you know. He did. He married that ugly. Oh, my God, if she'd been Indian, she'd have been sacred. I said to his dog at the wedding, I said, "What do you think of a rover?" He said, "Rough, rough." Oh dear, oh dear. Do you know she was so ugly she used to get obscene phone calls, reverse charge? And she said one day, said, "George," he said, "you're very unfair to me, you know. What would you do if you came home one night and found a strange man in bed with me?" He said I should go out and shoot his guide dog. Oh, George, I know where he'll be. He'll be at the pub having a drink with the Scottish Highlanders, because he were in the Scottish Highland Regiment, you know, when he were a young man. Oh, girls, you'd have loved him. He was so sexy. Little tam o' shanty, you know, and his kilt and his sporran. And oh, the trouble we had with that. I'll never forget that Thursday. He'd been on guard duty all night. He was dead tired. He gets onto the bus to go home. He sits down, he falls fast asleep. And the conductor comes up to him and he says, "Here, you can't bring that dog on the bus." George said, "Dog?" He said, "That's not a dog." He said, "That's Miss Sporran." And the woman next door to him fainted. Well, they brought her to, and they brought her two more. And they said, "Why did you faint?" She said, "I thought it were a little dog." She said, "I've been stroking it for the past 10 minutes. The woman opposite, she said, "I thought it were a little dog and all." She said, "I've been offering it bits of biscuit." And what's more, it's been taking them. Oh, dear, oh, George. Oh, I'll have to go and find him, you know. We're a bit old to be out this time, you know. And he's been up in court on a rape charge. 87 on a rape charge. Of course, it was a case of mistaken identity, but he was so flattered he pleaded guilty. I don't know. We're getting on. I'm 93, you know. I'm 93, and I haven't got an enemy in the world. I've outlived a lot of them. But, you know, every Anzac Day, I think, and I get a little bit sad. Get a little bit sad when you think of all the old friends who've gone before. Old friends like William, Henry, oh, Tommy.
Where are the boys of the old brigade, fought with us side by side, shoulder to shoulder and blade by blade, fought till they fell and died. Oh, so steady and undismayed, oh, so ready and true. Where are the boys of the old brigade? Where are the lads we knew? Steadily, shoulder to shoulder, steadily, blade by blade, ready and strong, marching along like the boys of the old brigade. Steadily, shoulder to shoulder, steadily, blade by blade, ready and strong, marching along like the boys of the old brigade.
Thank you, Johnny.
George.
Johnny Ladd.
Yeah.
Johnny entertained the troops in the Second World War. He was part of the entertainment forces. And after this break, we meet two more entertainers who gave their time. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to our special Anzac Day edition. On all war fronts and wherever servicemen and women were gathered, a very important role was played by entertainers who throughout all the wars have come to every outpost trying to make life a little easier. Meet just two of the many who served in this way, Johnny Lockwood and Connie Hobbs. Welcome to you both. Johnny, I've got to say to you, as a very old friend, I mean, it's a good thing that during the war you had a better sense of direction than you had this morning. Tell the story.
Well, I got to the airport and the driver said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Channel 9, please." So I went to Channel 9. I said, "Where's the Bert Newton studio?" So I said, "The Bert Newton studio, you're about 3 miles away."
Well, a mate of mine at 9 rang me and said, "There's a mate of yours wanting to see you, and if he wants to be on your show, I've told him to get over there pretty quickly." Johnny, apart from entertaining with the forces during the war, you originally were part of the forces, weren't you?
Well, I went into the RAF in 1941, and I was discharged on medical grounds in 43. I wasn't discharged, I was released because I was no good at, in the services, because I lost my hearing of the right ear, and it wasn't anything brave, but my straight man doing a show one night said, "Get out of it," and put me in the ear like that. And it busted my eardrum. Well, I was in and out of hospital for about 8 months or 9 months. Just couldn't stop the discharge, And they said, "Would you like to go out and go back to your old job, but you've got to work for ENSA?" I said, "Oh, fine, that was great."
And what's that again?
ENSA, Entertainment's National Service Association. That was they did the whole of the entertainment for all the British, the whole of the Army, Navy and Air Force.
So, Johnny, who did you work with and where did you work?
Well, before I went in the services, I did a show in London for the services only called the Colonel Horlick's Matinee for the Forces at the Scala Theatre. Now, we used to do that every day, and it was for all the ARP men or any men on leave, and it was a big show. It was put on by Jack Hilton, but paid for by the Horlicks people. And then I went in the services, and I had this 18 months or so, and then I came out, and I went around England for about 3 months, and then they said, "Will you volunteer for overseas?" And I said, "Yes," because they said, "Giraldo wants you." Now, have you heard of Giraldo and his band were like Glenn Miller?
Sure.
An enormous orchestra. And I went to the Middle East with Giraldo. We went to Egypt, Palestine, Iraq, Sicily, the Azores. We went to all those places. And when we were in Cairo, Air Vice Marshal Cunningham asked Giraldo, if he could put a smaller show on because they hadn't the transport. So he took just 8 or 9 of us, and we had a small unit, and we used to go everywhere. And it finished up, the worst part of that trip was that we went to Tunis, and we did 6 shows in Tunis in a day, 6 shows. We finished at 1:30 in the morning, and they wanted us on the plane at 7 o'clock. Now, we all objected. We said, "We just can't do it," because, it was really ridiculous. So they gave us a plane at 10 o'clock, and we were going over Palermo, and we crashed in an area. But when I say crashed, I'm talking about an actual crash. Not a bit of the plane hardly left, and they all... Well, it was funny. The bloke came out and started to throw boxes out of the door, and he kicked the door off like that, and we're about 200 feet up, and Gerald said, "What are they doing?" I said, "I don't know, delivering mail to submarines, I think." And the next thing is the navigator came in and said, "Get this goddamn stuff out of here." It was an American plane, and we started to shift these boxes, and they weighed 100 weight. We were thrown about like feathers. And eventually he said, "Hold on, we're going in." And I just grabbed hold of a seat. There weren't seats in the plane, there were bucket seats, And like this, and it went crash, bang, wallop, big bang, crash, bang, boom. And when I woke up, I'm the only one in the airplane. And there's no bottom, it's all out. All our luggage is on the floor. And they're all shouting, "Johnny, come out!" I wouldn't wake up, I wouldn't let go. And they were about 20, 30 yards of me. But what saved our lives was the fact that where we hit a carrot field. And it was that deep with mud, so as the plane hit, it only had one bounce.
Cushioned it.
And that stopped it.
Connie, you spent most of your time entertaining, I believe, in North Africa. Is that true?
No, we went most of the places Johnny did, including India. See, I went over to further my career and got caught in the war. So with my husband that I married later, we went as a double act and we signed up for the entire war. So the first place we went to was France. And when we had done a month there, they asked us, this little unit, to go and do another month. And we couldn't because we were booked for a show in England. And when we got back, it was only a week after that Dunkirk happened. So if we had done that other month, we would have been in the middle of all that, probably prisoners. So that was the first thing. Then we went to West Africa in a big convoy of 21 ships. And from there to Egypt, Africa, all over the places that you read today, and India, ended up in India. And on one of the trips there, the 8th Army were going out to do something very interesting. I don't know what it was. It was a big push. So they got Josephine Baker I suppose you've heard of Josephine
indeed.
Baker, in to join the unit. And she was a very beautiful woman, as you know, and she didn't wear much on the top. It was like a little neck trimming. So all the troops that would be sitting on the floor, they got closer and closer. They kept creeping up to get a good look at Josephine Baker. But she was a wonderful woman and a wonderful artist.
And if you had your time over again, I mean, you do it again, Connie?
Yes, I'd hate to be there to be another war.
Of course.
But it was a most wonderful experience of all the places we went to. We got out of so many things because we went right to the front. You know, we went to the forward areas.
Well, today, Johnny and you represent the many hundreds of performers, thousands of performers who gave their time, and in some cases, actually, their lives to entertaining the troops. Thank you, Johnny, and thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Connie Hobbs and Johnny Lockwood. And now, members of our own entertainment unit. Marty Rose, Heather Maloney, Dermot Tutty, Soul Sisters Swing, and the Alana Clark Dancers. They sing songs that belong to World War II.
Good night.
Thank you. We're back with you after this break. Welcome back to the show. I hope you're enjoying our special Anzac Day edition. I'm enjoying every moment of it. It's always been a day when I feel very emotional, and I know that that sort of feeling is shared by millions of people around Australia. In 1982, the record charts in this country of ours rang to a very different tune when a group called Red Gum shot to the top with a song written by its lead singer, John Schumann. It was the first real musical recognition that we had been in Vietnam. John is with us today to sing I Was Only 19, and the song was written about a man called Frank Hunt, a farm boy from the Mallee in Victoria, who in 1967 was driven by the Mallee drought to join the army. After 2 years in the regular army, he was sent then to Vietnam, where after 3 months a landmine blew off part of his leg. And he's going to join us after John sings the song which was dedicated to him back in 1982. John Schumann.
Mum and Dad and Denny saw the passing out parade at Puckapunyal. It was a long march from cadets, and the 6th Battalion was the next to tour. It was me who drew the card. We did Canungra and Shoalwater before we left, and Townsville lined the footpaths as we marched down to the quay. This clipping from the paper shows us young and strong and clean. And there's me in me slouch hat with me SLR and greens. God help me, I was only 19. Bung Tower riding Chinooks to the dust of Huey Dat. I'd been in and out of choppers now for months, and we made our tents a home VB and pin-ups on the lockers, and an Asian orange sunset through the scrub. And can you tell me, doctor, why I still can't get to sleep? And night time's just a jungle dark and a barking M16. What's this rash that comes and goes? Can you tell me what it means? God help me, I was only 19. Four-week operation, when each step could mean your last one on 2 legs. It was a war within yourself, but you wouldn't let your mates down till they had you dusted off. So you closed your eyes and you thought about something else. And then someone yelled out, "Contact!" and the bloke behind me swore. We hooked in there for hours, then it got almighty raw. Frankie kicked a mine the day that mankind kicked the moon. God help me, he was going home in June. I can still see Frankie drinking tinnies in the Grand Hotel on a 36-hour rec leave in Bung Tower. I can still hear Frankie lying screaming in the jungle till the morphine came and killed the bloody row. And the Anzac legends didn't mention mud and blood and tears, and the stories that my father told me never seemed quite real. I caught some pieces in my back that I didn't even feel. God help me, I was only 19. And can you tell me, doctor, why I still can't get to sleep? And why the Channel 7 chopper chills me to my feet? And what's this rash that comes and goes? Can you tell me what it means? God help me. I was only 19.
Thank you, John. John Schumann, who's about to join us. I made mention before that that song was dedicated to and written about a man called Frank Hunt. And Frank, like so many other Vietnam veterans, have had times that have not been easy since they've been back. I'm not too sure if Frank would tell you the story or not, but I can tell you that he was told by an RSL vice president in Sydney, you can drink here when you've been to a real war. And that's the sort of thing that they had to contend with. And anybody who was in that boat will tell you that's the case, or was the case, fortunately. Now, hopefully, things have improved. Please welcome Frank Hunt.
Welcome, Frank. Thank you, Bert. And you're joined now by John. Well done, John.
Frank, that was no exaggeration, was it?
No exaggeration. There was 2 other veterans with me that day, and I wasn't typical of the ordinary Vietnam veteran. In many ways, I wasn't typical. First of all, I was a 3rd generation. My grandfather fought in the Middle East in the Light Horse and was hit in the left leg. My father fought in New Guinea and was hit in the left leg. And then I went to Vietnam and I was hit in the left leg. So that wasn't typical. Also, the fact is, I suppose I might put it down to the good heartedness of the Malay people, but they gave me a wonderful farewell. Even after spending 19.5 months in hospital, they gave me a wonderful welcome home. And so there, for the first time, I was able to see the bitterness, the separation between soldier and the public. And I resolved then, that day I saw that in that club in Sydney, that I was going to make sure those fellas also were recognised and given a welcome home as well.
We can only imagine what the gut feeling would be when you've been to a dirty war such as Vietnam and you come back to your own country. It's not so much even that you're ignored, it's just a case of people pretending it never happened.
Yeah, hiding it under the carpet is one way of putting it, I suppose, but also the fact is not recognising the soldiers apart from the politicalisation of the war. And I think that's where we felt bitter, that we were sent over by the government of the day, and let's face it, the government of the day are the people of Australia, and then not being recognised in any way, shape or form. But we were recognised as killers, we were recognised as child murderers, we were recognised as people who did all sorts of insane acts. And the Australian soldier wasn't like that. I mean, the Australian soldier was very dedicated and still believed in the tradition of the Anzacs. And I know when I went over there, I think I was just so proud to wear the khaki uniform and continue on the tradition of my father and my grandfather.
John, I can recall being in radio when that song came out, and on its first playing, the switchboard just lit up. And I might mention that half were for and half were against. That percentage changed pretty quickly, and people all of a sudden got the real meaning of this song. How did it come about? Did you know Frank personally?
No, I didn't know Frank. I knew a friend of his who was in the same platoon as Frank, and he'd come to see me when I was playing in Red Gum, and I'd always wanted to write a song about Vietnam because I figured it was about time, and I figured that I could do it. But the thing was, at that particular stage, the Vietnam veterans did not talk about their experiences to those outside the brotherhood, if you like. Now, this bloke, this friend of mine, he came to see the band and he liked what we were doing, and I asked him whether he would talk to me about his experiences, and for the first time in 10 years he spoke to somebody outside the Vietnam veteran brotherhood. We spent about 3 days together locked in a room, and I interviewed him. I had about 9 cassettes full, and we poured over maps and charts and photographs and bits of his Vietnam memorabilia that he kept in a little cardboard box at the bottom of his wardrobe. And there were a lot of tears, and it was a pretty heart-rending exercise for both of us. And for the next 4 or 5 months, I just listened to those tapes and I thought about it and I thought about it. And I actually wrote the song here in Melbourne, in Carlton. Even though I'm from Adelaide, I was living in Carlton at the time. And I went out one morning and I put my guitar on my lap. I had a cup of coffee on the sleeper seat in the garden, and the song just came tumbling out like it was already written. And then, of course, I sang the song to Michael, who was the bloke who opened his heart. And he said, well, you better go and sing this song to Frankie. So when I was going through Bega on a tour, I knocked up Frankie and said, I'm John Schumann, I'm a mate of Mick's, and I've written this song that I think you should hear. And that's when Frankie and I became mates. And from there I went to the Phil Thompson, who was the president of the Vietnam Veterans Association, and played the song to him, just to make sure that it wasn't offensive and to make sure that I got it all right.
Well, and you know now, in 1989, it certainly wasn't offensive, and I'm sure you would agree, Frank, that it helped to right that terrible wrong.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Bert. I can still recall the very moment that John played that song, and I was in a motel room down the beach in Tathra, and he completed the song, and I was just full of tears, were just rolling down my face, and I left that motel room and I walked on the beach for approximately 20 minutes, and it was like a purging for me. Well, then I came back, and when John and I went to Sydney, we went out to Concord Hospital, to the psych ward, and we saw grown men from the Vietnam War. We saw the wives and the kids of these Vietnam veterans, and just the purging of it all, the tears. The good thing about, I think, that I was only 19 is done. And it's given the Vietnam veterans a base to work from, a recognition, but most importantly, it's educated the children. Kids that were born after the war had no idea or recognition of what that war was all about, and it's educated them that the only ones that win a war are the ones that make the money out of it. The victims are always the soldiers and their families. There's no winners in war.
Frank, I thank you for sharing part of your Anzac Day with us. It's your day as much as anybody else's. Have a good day. Have a great day. And John, thank you for your
Thanks very much.
John Truman and Frank Hunt. We'll take this break. We'd like to take this opportunity of thanking the Department of Defence for the use of the unique World War I footage you've seen in today's show. And that's almost our show for today. I started off at the beginning of the program, which is a good spot to start off, I guess, in saying that some people believe that Anzac Day is a glorification of war. It's nothing like that at all. It's a day, I believe, when we should pause to thank the men and women who gave their all so that we could enjoy what we enjoy today in Australia. It's a strange thing, you know, war. It chooses certain songs, and all of a sudden it makes those songs its own. And this happened with the Vietnam War, with a movie called Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams. The song that was recorded many years before by Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, became an anthem not only for that movie, but indeed for Vietnam, and I would like to think for other wars too. And if you listen very carefully to the words, maybe you'll understand that alleged glorification doesn't exist, and you'll also understand that we can have a wonderful world. To the ex-servicemen and women watching this program today, it's your day. Within the constraints of the law and good taste, you do anything you want to do. As Terry Holden sings for you, What a Wonderful World, I'll say goodbye and a happy Anzac Day.
I've seen trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies blue, fields of white, dark blessed day, dark say goodnight. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying that I love you. I've seen babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know. And I say to myself, What a wonderful world. I say to myself, what a wonderful world.
When in Melbourne, our guest stay at the Hilton on the Park. This has been a Jim McKay production for the Australian Television Network.